Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Shrine of Anubis. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back, and nice to see you again. So, today's topic is a fascinating question that I tend to receive a lot, especially from younger people. I'm talking about teenagers who live with their parents who reject religion, but their parents are religious, but they are themselves pagan. And today I want to address this very popular question: what to do when you are a pagan, but your parents are Christian? So, to be more specific, when Anubis calls you but you live with your Christian parents. Oh my gosh. Okay, so where do I begin? I think to not overcomplicate this video, I want to get straight to the point as to what I want to advise you if you live with religious parents and Anubis has called you and now you don't know what to do about it. You probably hop on Tumblr, whatever you young kids are hanging out on now these days, Snapchat, whatever. Well, not Snapchat. Um, Tumblr, maybe Twitter or something. You have been researching new information, investigating new things, exploring a different path or various paths. You've been called by Anubis. Oh my gosh, what the fuck do I do now? I know I need to have an altar because that's what all of the other cool kids are doing on Tumblr. Well, my response to that is very simple. You don't need an altar. Okay, that's it. Bye. Okay, so to further elaborate on this, you do not need an altar if this means chaos for you from hostile people who do not respect your boundaries and your beliefs and the fact that you are a sovereign being with your own thoughts, emotions, feelings, ideas, and beliefs and all that jazz, okay? First of all, or second, I lost track here. Excuse me. Um, you do not need an altar because the gods and the goddesses live within you. And I want you to take a moment here to absorb that message. The gods live within yourself, they live in your heart, they live in your mind. You do not need to have an altar. This also goes for any of you guys out there who want to have something crazy and elaborate for Anubis or somebody else or a group, but you do not have the money to afford it in order to do it. You don't need to go crazy with an altar. And second, you do not need an altar if this poses a threat for you with your family, okay? And I say this because I know that Anubis tends to also attract a lot of queer people. I am bisexual myself. Anubis tends to attract a lot of people who are usually gay, bisexual, transgender, and so on, maybe non binary as well. You probably are not even out of the closet yet in that regard as well. So imagine coming out as gay, and also I am a gay pagan, I worship Anubis, and your Christian parents with their Jesus figure and their cross. How are they gonna, react, right? It's You don't want to put yourself at risk if you know that your parents are not tolerant of who you are as a person. If you are part of the LGBTQ community, you do not want to put yourself at risk if they are not tolerant of other people with different belief systems, if they are heavily programmed with religion. And I wanted to address this because I do have a Tumblr. It's shrineofanubis.tumblr.com. I have abandoned that blog. I do need to keep it updated and make transcripts of all the videos I've done here so far. And I do find a lot of queer people there, myself included, who are afraid of sharing with their parents both things. I am this, I am that. It can be being gay, being trans, being this or that, and also I am pagan, I'm not Christian. And a lot of them want to be accepted by their parents for both things. Some of them don't mind about keeping their spiritual beliefs private. And I really want to emphasize, do not do something if you know that you are at risk. Because again, with some parents kick you out if they know that you are gay or bisexual, transgender. If they are super religious, they are not very tolerant of people who are different to them, because the Bible, the Christian Bible, if I am not mistaken, forbids same-sex relationships. And so a lot of people take these beliefs literally, and they either think this is something from demons or that they can pray the gay out of you or some crazy ass dumb shit. I don't even know anymore these days because I am not up to date with how people think, but those are some of the things I've heard and read about from other people and their experiences as gay pagans who have come out to their parents only to receive backlash. This is why I emphasize that you investigate first how tolerant your parents may be of other spiritual belief systems beyond Christianity, beyond Catholicism, beyond religion itself, and how tolerant are they of other people who are different from them. Gay couples, bisexuals, poly people, whatever floats your spaceship. So the reason why I say this is you do not want to put yourself in a position where your parents become physically abusive, emotionally abusive, where they either kick you out of their home or start to guilt trip you and try to brainwash you with their own belief systems. You do not want to put yourself at that, in that situation, so to speak. And I say this because I had a friend of mine who was legally blind and she came out as trans, now a he. So he came out as trans, but also pagan to his Christian mother, because it was a single mother. And it did not end well. He could not really do things for himself because he is, legally blind. So he is unable to drive. And so her, the mom would drive him around town and stuff to help him out with his own tasks and stuff. And it was a very uncomfortable situation for him because he could not become independent. And there's nothing worse than having to depend and rely on someone who is toxic with you, emotionally or physically abusive with you, and you are unable to do anything about it because you're either a minor or you have a disability that prevents you from doing a lot of things on your own. So the reason for this video is to warn you that you do not need an altar for Anubis if you want to work with him. And if you have strictly religious parents, you do not need to put yourself in that position. An altar is not required to be devoted to someone. Because like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, they live in your heart. They live in your mindset, in your mind space, I should say. And because of this, you do not need to build an altar, especially if that means trouble with your family and you can't move out yet, and it will bring you conflicts and troubles. Anubis is a very understanding god. He actually never requires anything from me, really. He doesn't really ask for much from me. From what I have perceived from him, he's told me to just keep him in my heart and in my thoughts and to not forget about him. And so that's what I do. However, because my family, my mother and my aunt and my brother, but my brother doesn't live with me, he has his own partner and he's elsewhere. They are open and tolerant to other belief systems, and in fact, they are curious about it. They are curious because I exposed them to that information 10 years ago when I left Catholicism. It's when they started to become curious about my new belief systems and what they consisted of. And so they never really pushed me Catholicism. But since that's the religion they were born and raised with, they can't help but sometimes bring up, like, oh, always, make your prayers to God and Jesus so that Jesus protects you and all that jazz. It's not intentional. They don't do it to be toxic. It's just natural to them. So I don't really mind or care when they make the cross sign on me when I'm gonna go out or something. I don't really mind or care because that's just how they are. But they are tolerant. So I can have an altar. I can have statues of Anubis. I'm not sure about Baphomet though. So, I can do it, but if it's going to put you in a sketchy position, do not risk it. Anubis will not get mad with you. Anubis will not be toxic with you. Anubis will not abandon you either. Anubis will not refuse to help you either. So any belief systems that you may have as to all the bad things that could happen if you don't have an altar, but oh my gosh, I got religious parents, they're gonna kill me, but I want to do this, but oh my gosh, stop. Breathe, relax, and get your shit together. But jokes aside, really, do not be concerned of having to have an altar because you don't need one. So if Anubis calls you, answer the call, but don't feel obligated to do something that you know will put you at risk. Otherwise, that's how you will anger him, because he does not want you to risk yourself, to put yourself in a dangerous position where, I don't know, harm could be possible, whether physical or emotional or mental. Anubis is very defensive and territorial over his devotees, so do not follow the hype. I really don't. Even though I can be in the position of doing many things, but I never really follow the hype, especially if it's going to compromise me. Anubis hates that. And I would say, to summarize this video, as to when Anubis calls you, but you live with your Christian parents, if you do still want to do something, work with nature. How? By having plants in your home. Cacti or something minimal that doesn't require a lot of work. I don't know, a jar with sand or something. You can work with the elements from nature. If you still want to have an altar, but you want to be undercover like a boss or CIA agent, you can work with the 4 elements, water, earth, fire, and wind, I guess. Anyways, yes, I think I said it correctly. Water, earth, fire, and wind. Anyways, you can always work with the elements of nature if you still want to have an altar, but you want to go undercover, but you know, you want to still do something, then working with the elements is way undercover and your space is going to look bomb. And if you want some ideas on how to work with the elements and what things you could have and use to have an altar with all the elements, let me know down below in the comments section and I'll make another video with some ideas and suggestions for you if you want to have an undercover altar in your space, if you live with religious parents. To summarize this video, when Anubis calls you but you live with your Christian parents, you don't have to tell them about your beliefs, period. Second, answer the call, but don't feel obligated to have an altar because it's not required. Third, Anubis will not hate you for eternity or curse you or anything if you are unable to have an altar for him. In fact, you will piss him off if you put yourself at risk. Because various things can happen if you have different beliefs from extremely religious parents. And also if you happen to be gay, bisexual, transgender, and so on. So do not put yourself at risk, number 3. And number 4, if you still want to have an altar but undercover while you live with your religious parents, you can work with the 4 elements of nature. And I know that you're going to say, oh, but there's a 5th element. It's spirit. I know, but we're being physical here. We're talking about physical stuff. You know, the things that we can work with. Sorry, I'm a bit toxic today. I think it's just my moon time about to arrive. But anyways, I will let you go now. I will love you and leave you because this video is already long enough. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video helped you. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, click on the bell button, and click on see all so that you get all the notifications of any future uploads that I'll be making on this channel. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.